Mike's going to say some closing words, but I just want to make sure Hope's been helping us do certain things. We're going to try to have and feel free to keep giving us feedback, but we're going to try to have at least a white paper of what we've been doing here today, depending on how scientific or rigorous or at least interesting it gets. We'll talk about where it's going to go. We'll make sure people in this room and others get to see this. The goal is to say, hey, we met today, here's some areas of priorities, here's some of where the field's going and some ways to think about it. And additionally, I think if you go into the medical literature these days and you're saying, as a patient or as a clinician in the vascular space, where's the field going? Sometimes the talks you heard today are just so good, and you see so much of what's coming. Putting those into a central place that maybe your colleagues want to see is really good. We spent a lot of times on metabolism, but there's a lot of other stuff there that I think is really forward-looking. So she's going to be working with you all and us to make sure we get that out. I just want to make sure we highlight that. And Mike's going to talk to you about the grants and the closing comments.
Yeah, just a couple of closing thoughts, and I'll have Isabel ask you to also make a few comments and talk about getting to the reception. So, I think like the other summits we've had, I think today was another example of just the breadth of the vascular community and the breadth of perspectives that came into this room just to focus on the vascular patient for these, 8 hours or so. I would hope, and I know for myself it's certainly true, that everybody got something today that they didn't know about before. And that everybody has a question or a couple of questions today that they weren't thinking about before they heard the other people in this room, because I don't think the things that we heard today you would normally get in one place from the range of people and the range of perspectives and specialties that were represented here. And that's kind of where we feel a real need, is to bring that together, crystallize it around maybe one specific timely topic, which right now is this metabolic lens, but over time it changes. But what doesn't change is that we try to bring a diversity of thoughts, a diversity of perspectives. And I always get something out of these meetings that, new knowledge that I didn't appreciate before. So hopefully we met that bar today. We will probably take a few weeks to distill this all out and write something about what we would be looking for in types of research proposals that would kind of fit what we heard today about the nature of the field and the nature of the unmet questions and needs, and then filter that back out to everybody for your thoughts. And hopefully also some people met some people here today that they didn't know before that they might even collaborate with on a proposal. That would be the ultimate home run. So, Isabel, do you want to come up and say a few final words?
Yeah, thanks everyone. Just to manage expectations, a few weeks might be 2 months, might be closer to that. I always find that there's a lot of consultation to do, and so it takes longer than we hope when we're in this room. But we will be getting back on the state of art review and tell you kind of what our plan is. We'll also be getting back on where the priorities were and what we're thinking about the RFAs, and our turnaround is pretty quick relative to other organizations, so I think you'll see, just because we're small, so we're able to turn around a request for proposals pretty quickly. So I think, 3 or 4 months you'll see one officially go out, and the awards will be shortly thereafter. So that's kind of what to expect. Also, we are sticking with this subject area for the next year and really leaning into patient responses, patients, caregivers, loved ones. And so we'll be exploring all the topics that we talked about from a scientific point of view, but looking from the other side of how patients are responding, what it takes to get patients engaged in the subject matter, what their concerns are. And so you'll be hearing from us on those plans as well, because we will have another meeting like this, but it will be very much the patient-focused side of activities. With respect to the reception, we are going off-site. We're going to the Luma Hotel. We're going to the rooftop, which is floor 17. Campagna is the restaurant. We have a beautiful space outside. So we hope you will all come join us. It's about a 10-minute walk, just to give you a sense of it for those of you who are not staying at the hotel, and about a 2-minute Uber drive. And with that, if anybody doesn't have any, do you have any questions? I will open it up. Does anybody have any questions before we all go to the reception? All right. Thank you very much for coming. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. And thank you to our co-chairs.